Joseph, I know you've been asked to say a little bit more about Zetetic NLP modeling. Can you tell me why you find it so interesting?
Yes. No, when you first asked me this question, it didn't immediately spring to mind, but it's not like I find it interesting. I'm sort of hooked on it, really. I'm doing it all the time. So when I first studied NLP, I observed that the core skill was modeling. So I did my practitioner, and then the only way I could do the modeling was to do the master practitioner. So I did the master practitioner, and that's what got me interested, and I've been interested ever since.
Thank you. I know you also teach Zetetic NLP modeling.
Yeah.
Can you describe one or two student projects and why you remember them?
Well, I tend to remember the student projects that are fun. Modeling can be hard work, so I do tend to remember the ones that are fun and the ones that had made a big difference to individual lives. But just engaging with the process of modeling at any level seems to me to be beneficial. But I can remember somebody who wanted to learn to dance salsa. This was out of their expectations of themselves before they did it, and they did it. I remember someone who worked with getting people back to work, long-term unemployed, which seemed like a very difficult task to me. But after her modeling project, she increased her results fourfold. Her strategy was published in the trade magazine Rapport, and she was also promoted in her career. So there are, some real benefits to doing it, to doing the modeling. There are lots of others I could name, but those two come to mind. Yeah.
Thank you. I've also heard it's quite hard work. Is that right?
Well, yes, in a way. There is the Master Practitioner program, and as part of the Master Practitioner program there is a modeling project. And the modeling project, to do that you need to be modeling people who demonstrate the skill you want to learn, which is not going to be in the training program. You have to set it up outside of the training program. So if you like, that bit is hard work, and it draws on other skills like being able to bring people together, the basic skills of rapport, asking questions, that sort of thing. And it tends to take place over a longer period of time. So some of my modeling projects have taken me 2 years, from conception to validation to actual proof that they work. I know that within the context of a 6-month program that's not going to be the case, but there is quite a bit to do. That's the truth of it. Yeah.
Thank you. And do you have to be an NLP practitioner to learn modeling?
There's a lot of pollen here.
Do you have to be an NLP practitioner to learn modeling?
Well, yes. In order to code the strategy that you're going to find and explain it, it's going to need NLP language. And the NLP, everything has its own language. The NLP language is the kind, and some of the NLP skills in order to create the right kind of environment to get the result. So I think it's inevitable that you need the NLP practitioner in order to do the modeling work in the formalized way that we're doing it. I mean, we are all modeling all the time, but I'm talking about a modeling project. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For the sake of the video, I'm going to ask you, what are really the golden nuggets of NLP modeling?
Yeah, okay. I was once running an evening session in Truro, and one of the participants in the evening session came up to me and said, look, I just don't know whether to go to Tesco's or not. Are there any golden nuggets? I had to say no. And she left immediately because she thought, well, there aren't any golden nuggets, I'm not hanging around. And I realised what I was being set against in an evening sort of workshop, golden nuggets. So this might not seem like a golden nugget to you, but there is this first, second and third position, this triple description, which is just so useful in life anyway. So who am I, am I myself when I am talking to someone? That's, am I seeing through my own eyes? Am I breathing through my own body? Or am I in second position, that is being sympathetic and just walking in their shoes and understanding their position? Or am I able to take a sort of helicopter view and see both of those positions? And both of taking a helicopter view, for example, diffuses or erases the kinesthetics, which gives you a kind of an emotional take on the perspective on what you're looking at. They run through relationships, they run through teamwork, they run through contracts, they run through just establishing your own boundaries so that you're not being taken advantage of. They're everywhere in NLP, so the golden nugget is first, second and third position for me. Yeah.
Thank you. What are the most common mistakes that people make with modelling?
Yeah, so there is a common mistake, and the common mistake is that people listen to what other people are saying rather than observing what they are doing. So if you want to get to the heart of a modelling strategy, you're going to have to observe what the person is doing rather than what the person is saying. Now this may seem slightly contradictory because we encourage people to listen a lot in NLP. In fact, we use the words that people are saying to deepen rapport and to deepen the state that they're in. So this might seem contradictory, but when you're modeling, you want to observe what they're doing. And I can tell you, I was working with a person called Paul Harris, who's a choreographer, who's now a famous choreographer, and does work for Harry Potter franchise. And he did the one sequence. But when I met him, was at the bridge between him leaving the ballroom dancing scene and becoming an actor. And he was teaching dance in a club called Ruby's in London. So he was between jobs, if you like, as actors often were or are. And I did a modelling project with him, and it wasn't until I observed him do it, something he thought that he didn't, he thought he was making up, but it wasn't until I observed him doing it that I got the strategy. And subsequently I was then able to explain to him what he already knew, but it was through observing the doing that I got the strategy. And I've seen many projects fail because the people are listening to what the exemplar is saying rather than observing what they're doing. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would you recommend that people learn NLP modelling?
Yeah, it's a difficult question. It depends upon what their ambitions are for themselves. If they want to know how to break down the strategy of any observable behaviour that they find attractive, then yes, because it's going to give you those skills, it's going to give you those tools. That's the only way I can think of answering it. So I would not have been able to get grade distinctions if I didn't know about the NLP approach to modelling, because up until that point I'd not worked it out. Excuse me. There are a lot of things that I would have not been able to do had I not had those modelling skills. Having said that, the NLP Master Practitioner with the modelling embedded inside of it is a formal way of coding what we already do as human beings. We naturally model. But if you wanted to describe the strategy of someone who was good at something, what language would you use? What sequence would you use? And how would you know that you had the core strategy and not some idiosyncratic bits that were hanging around it because of the way that they behaved? And modeling can help you get to that core. NLP modeling can help you get to that core strategy because it gives you the language and the toolkit, to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.